Today we're going to be going over 10 fragrances that you really only need a couple of sprays from to last all day and to get you noticed. There's a lot of scents out there that are on the weaker side. You might have to spray them, 8, 9, 10 or more times in order to get some sort of good longevity out of them and to get enough projection to where people can actually smell it on you. But that is not the case with these. This is kind of the perfect example of less is more. You might find that if you over apply some of these, it could just be a little bit too in your face and too strong, and not even just for people around you, but you might find for you yourself, it's just way too overpowering and you might get sick of it really fast. This first one is Mugler Fantasm, or Angel Men Fantasm by Mugler, however you want to put it. But it's another Mugler scent. I mean, it was really weird what happened with these. They had a great thing going, pure Havane, pure malt, ultra zest, and so many more. And then one by one, they all started going away, discontinuing them. I think the one that we had the longest, or at least one of the few that were still holding on for a while was what was it, Mugler Angel Men Ultimate in that light blue bottle that you could still get for around, I don't know, $60. It was 100 ml. It had like a cappuccino fir note going on. That was one of the few remaining, but even that one now is gone. And you're really left with the original or this new flanker, this Phantasm release, which is really nice and actually reminds me a lot of the original Angel Men. This one's got chocolate, patchouli, clary sage, and while it's not listed off, I kind of get this coffee note. And again, that's one of the things that is making this feel a little bit similar to the original, is that perception of a coffee, like a roasted coffee note in here with all of that patchouli, that gourmand chocolatey aspect. But I will say, this one is a bit sweeter, a bit more likable, a bit more up-to-date compared to the original. I think overall, people would have better luck with enjoying this one collectively. I think the original could be a little bit of a risky purchase that not everybody's going to like, but I think this one, on the other hand, probably reaches a wider variety of people or just a broader audience in terms of just not being quite as, challenging, so to speak. But one thing's for sure, it's a very strong scent, so you don't have to worry about performance here with this one. Throw a couple sprays on and you're going to be good to go. And the other good thing is that it's not insanely expensive either. I think on discounters you're looking at anywhere from $80 to $100. I mean, that's not bad compared to what a lot of the new releases are going for these days. This next one is 1 Million Elixir, and really, you could go with just about any 1 million. At this point, the original is going to be one of the weakest ones because over the years it has been reformulated, has been quote-unquote watered down. You hear people talk about vintage 1 million. You just can't buy that anymore, right? If you buy just regular 1 million, it's kind of a shadow of its former self back in its prime. However, I don't really think that that's a huge deal when you have access to all of these new flankers. Elixir is what I chose for this video, but again, you could go with anything. There's something like 1 Million Lucky, which is still readily available for the most part. You could go for, 1 Million Ruby Edition. You could go for just about any of them, really. The new Million Gold, really strong performer as well. Million Gold Elixir is out, which I have coming, so I'll be able to try that one soon. You've got a lot of options, and I'm still missing plenty. But the point is, 1 Million Elixir here, it's another strong performer that you just don't need to spray a ton of to be able to get some good performance out of. It's got vanilla, tonka, and a bit of apple in here. Just a sweet, kind of common smell that you've probably picked up on before, so it's not overly unique, but it does the job and it works well. Now this next one definitely is a powerhouse. This is probably one of the strongest in here. There's a lot of heavy hitters, and they're all in here for a reason because they're all strong. But this stuff is extreme to the point where some people simply are going to hate it. And that's what's interesting about it. From Tom Ford, it's Tobacco Oud. So this one kind of went through a weird phase where you just couldn't get it anywhere, but it's back. And it's been back actually for a while, so nothing new there. Discounters, you know, you can get it. Not cheap, 50 ml, and I'm not even gonna attempt to say what the price is for right now because I don't know off the top of my head, and it does seem to change a lot. So I'll link it down below and you can do a price check there and see if it's gonna be in a range that you feel comfortable spending on, because I don't know where it's at right now. Again, not cheap, but at least it has been available again for some time now, whereas at one point it wasn't. And I think really the name portrays everything you need to know about this one. Strong tobacco, a lot of oud. One thing that's not missing, or one thing that is missing in the name that you do pick up on, is a very strong whiskey note as well. So boozy, tobacco, and oud. Again, wow. It is so strong, and a lot of people would venture to say it's kind of animalic smelling, and I 100% agree. So please hear me out when I say that you should probably not just blind buy this one straight away unless you have an understanding of exactly what this one is and what it's bringing to the table here, because again, not everybody's going to like this. But when we're talking about scents that only require a couple of sprays, this is one of them. And this is also one where if you were to just overspray this stuff on you, you would probably get sick of it real quick. I mean, it would probably give you a headache. Let's go for Kilian Angel Share up next. Super, super popular scent that has been cloned a bunch of times at this point. It didn't take long for this to get popular and for the clones to start coming. And then the clones haven't really stopped. I mean, pretty much every major, clone brand has a clone of this one now, and there's plenty to choose from. Take your pick. Latafa Camra rose to fame, but it's heavily inspired by, but also with a different twist, and it's a great option to go for, much cheaper. Just for the intents of this video, I just went for the original here, but the original or any clone will do for the most part. A lot of the clones are good performing. It's hard to beat the performance of this original, but a lot of them do hold up. It's a really nice, yet again, boozy scent here with a lot of sweetness, this kind of praline, cinnamon, gourmand sweetness. So to that token as well, similar to tobacco oud in the sense that it's just not going to be everybody's cup of tea, because again, the level of sweetness that this one gives off can just be a bit too much sometimes. It can be a bit overpowering if it's starting to get warm out when you're wearing this, or you have a coat on or something, or a jacket, and you're starting to really heat up and you got this one on. Man, this stuff, it gets stronger. That heat amplifies it. So I encourage you to, depending on what it is that you're going to do, limit your sprays accordingly, because this one might start to drive you nuts as well. Now, next up we have a Xerjoff. I promise it's not all niche. It's just do have a few in here because they are strong, but we got a few more designers to go for as well. But this one's Xerjoff Richwood. It's a patchouli scent. That's what it is. Strong, earthy, old school, vintage smelling patchouli is how I describe this one. I sound like a broken record here, but probably don't blind buy. I'm just going to say it. I don't think that's probably a good idea, because while I like it, and typically I like things like this, gosh, a lot of people who are my age and especially younger would think this smells like an old guy. They would think it smells just old, right? So do with that information what you will. It's just another one that's a very strong performer. With that patchouli, you are getting a couple other types of woods in here, a sandalwood and a cedar wood, but again, just to run it home, it's a patchouli bomb. So ultimately, it's a very mature, very classy, gentleman smelling scent, and lives up to the name Richwood. This stuff just smells premium, and it does have a premium price tag. Nothing about this one is affordable by any stretch of the term, even on discounters. A big bottle like this 100 ml, you're going to be up into the several hundreds of dollars for it. So pricey stuff, but incredibly strong, to the point where, likely a bottle of this size would probably last you a lifetime and then some. So let's go for, this is designer price. It's technically niche, but it's designer price. It's Guerlain Low Medial Extreme. So you're basically looking at about, at this point, like $95 to maybe $100. And sometimes I've seen it for as low as $80 for 100 ml. And that might not be as common, so I'm kind of going on the upper end just to have some margin built in. But I have seen it, yeah, for around $80 going rate. Typically it's just look to shoot for under 100 or 100 or below for this one is kind of where you're at. Anything more than that, you're probably just not getting the best deal on this one, because at this point it's had plenty of time to be on discounters and to really work its way down in price. The new Parfum has been on discounters here lately for like 110 to maybe 115, so it's starting to work its way down, and I would hope that that one kind of falls down to around the $100 price point as well at some point. Maybe give it another few months to a year or something like that. But the Extreme, nice plum, tobacco, and almond scent, strong as well. That's why it's in the video. And while a lot of these might require 2 sprays, maybe a solid 3 for this one. So this one might be on the weaker side of strong compared to the competition in this video, but it is still plenty strong, and you don't need to bathe in this one to get good results out of it. Okay, now this next one, it's niche, but it's designer price. So, and actually, this one is about the same price as that Guerlain too, just depending on where you're shopping. Mancera Intense Red Tobacco. So, being the intense newer version, going to be a little bit more expensive than Red Tobacco Eau de Parfum. Now, Red Tobacco Eau de Parfum 1000% could be in this video. So, if you don't feel like you need the intense, you don't need the extrait, if you just want to save probably about $30, you could go for the Eau de Parfum, which places that one a lot of times around $70 to $75 for 120 ml full presentation. We're talking niche. Again, it's crazy stuff, and a 12+ hour beast mode scent. So if you want just one of the most bang for your buck beast mode fragrances, Mancera Red Tobacco EDP is one of the best you could get for that. I like the Intense a little bit better just because I typically like extrait concentrations and how they wear on my skin more. I favor them. Now, at the end of the day, when I have both and I have a favorite, it's going to be my favorite, right? I have the luxury of having both versions. For people who only have the EDP, chances are that EDP is more than enough for you, and you might not need to go out and buy this Intense version. So, you know, don't feel like you have to go out and get this if you have the original, because performance-wise, they're pretty much the same. I just prefer the way an extrait wears on my skin, which is why I selected this one. Okay, now let's go for Azzaro, the Most Wanted. Nice little bottle like this, honestly, would last you a long time, you know. And it always depends on the size of your collection and how much you're wearing things, because a bottle this size, while it's cheaper, it's the worst deal imaginable. 50 ml, 100, 150 ml. 150 is always going to be the best price per mil. It's going to make the most sense, but not everybody needs that much, right? So it really just depends. Typically, the best middle ground that I advise most people to go for is just stick with the 100s. Unless you can get a really good deal on the 50 and you know you're not going to wear it that often. But if it's a blind buy and you don't know if you like it yet, or at least are really going to love it, well, you just don't know. And worst case scenario is you buy this bottle here and now you end up really loving it and you're wearing it every day, and now you've got to buy another one. Well, for that 100 ml that you're going to go ahead and buy, you know, it just would have made sense to buy that in the first place because you would have saved money there. I digress. Really nice toffee note in here, toffee, tonka bean, some sandalwood too. Very sweet, very youthful smelling. It's going to be for the younger crowd, although anybody can wear it, but it's a great performer. It's kind of what it's in here for, and it does do the job really well at a reasonable price. And I think you're looking usually at about $80 or so. This next one definitely is not a cheapie by any means, but there are clones, and I'll go over that. It's Dior Sauvage Elixir. Doesn't take much. Give yourself a couple sprays and you're good to go. If you don't want to spend, you know, around $140 for a full bottle, which is a 60 ml, you could go for Lattafa Assad. It's about $20 to $25, 100 ml, and great performer too. Same deal with that one. A couple of sprays and you're set. So you've got, I mean, the price difference there is massive. So it just depends on what you're prioritizing right now. You know, you could spend 140 on this, you could spend 20 on the Lattafa, and then have a bunch of money left over to get some other stuff too. So the decision is always yours to make, and I can't make it for you. Again, just to keep things consistent here, I just went with all of the originals, you know, but for most of these in here, there are clones of them. So you can kind of do that research as well. But Sauvage Elixir, it's a sandalwood, warm, spicy scent. So sandalwood, but then also cardamom. You've got quite a bit of nutmeg in here. You've got this sweet licorice note as well, which gives it a sweetness and a kind of more of a mature, different, almost syrupy smell to the scent. It's very mature. Okay, it's not at all like the original Sauvage or really any of the other flankers. It's going to be a lot more grown up smelling, but it is one of the strongest in the Sauvage lineup. We're going to finish this video off with Herrera Bronze Tonka. You could probably imagine Tonka being as the star of the show here. However, it's a really nice, sweet, creamy Tonka bean with almost like a little bit of a fruity kick. You can almost pick up on it when you smell this one. This nice, sweet, bright fruitiness, this nice, warm, rich cardamom in here. Smells wonderful. And even just a little bit of a smokiness kind of from this hint of like a cedarwood variety going on in here, just to give it a little bit more of a contrast. This was my first purchase within the Herrera Confidential line, and it got me hooked. I mean, I figured it was going to be good, right? It's expensive. It's from a pretty reputable designer brand as far as designer releases go, fragrance-wise. You know, they rarely miss. They don't have a ton compared to some others, but they've got a lot of good ones. And so I figured I was going to like it. But the quality and the blend and the uniqueness of this one, I was instantly hooked. And from there, I was down the rabbit hole. And I definitely don't have all of them yet, but I know I will at some point. I've got all of the major ones pretty much, and all of them are amazing. You're paying a premium for them, but man, it's worth it. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Strong fragrances that only need a couple of sprays to last all day and allow you to get the results that you're looking for out of them. I will link all these down below to discounters. Always shop through discounters, because whenever I'm referencing prices, it's based off of that discounter price, unless I explicitly say retail, you know, if it's a brand new release or something. But all of these here, pretty much, yeah, all of them you can get on discounters and save money there. So they will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.